Hi, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe and turn on notification.
Lucas never anticipated that his son, Noah's 5th birthday, would be the precise moment his existence incinerated. He had risen at 6 in the morning, fueled by a manic sort of energy, arranging every variable of the party, with the meticulousness of a man who needed the optics to be flawless. The residence, a sprawling craftsman in a respectable neighborhood, was adorned with silver and navy balloons. A galactic space theme permeated the living room. The scent of vanilla cupcakes, baking in the double oven, circulated through the ground floor, synthesizing the artificial aroma of domestic bliss. At 39, Lucas was a high-end real estate broker. He was a man who understood value, curb appeal, and the art of closing a deal. He knew how to make a hollow shell look like a sanctuary. But none of that mattered as much as the family unit he had constructed. With Sophie, his 36-year-old wife. They had met 10 years ago. Lucas had been captivated by her sharp ambition, the way she dissected market trends with a surgical precision, and her laugh, which was loud, uninhibited, and, as he would later document, entirely performative. Lucas never questioned her schedule. Trust was the currency of their contract. Or so he told himself. That morning, as he secured the final streamer, Lucas observed Sophie through the sliding glass door. She was checking her smartphone. Every 4 minutes, he counted, she would smile at the screen, type a rapid sequence, and then shove the device into her pocket. A sharp constriction tightened Lucas's chest, but he suppressed the data point. Today was about Noah. There was no allocated space for paranoia. The doorbell rang. Lucas heard Sophie's voice from the foyer. It was pitched high, brittle. He turned. A courier stood there, holding a massive arrangement of long-stemmed red roses. 2 dozen, at least. Sophie stood frozen, her eyes wide, hands trembling, as she accepted the vase. Lucas abandoned the cake stand. He moved. He did not run, but he closed the distance with predatory speed. Noah shouted, "Mom! Who sent the flowers? Let me see the card." Sophie practically snatched the small envelope. She attempted to hide it behind the vase. A clumsy, desperate maneuver. Lucas felt his blood temperature drop. He had not sent those flowers. He locked eyes with Sophie. For 1 second. The facade crumbled. He saw terror. Absolute, unadulterated panic. "Oh, it must be a delivery error," she said, her voice vibrating. "You know how these services are." Lucas moved closer. "Let me see the card." "Sophie." His voice was calm. Terrifyingly calm. "It's nothing, Lucas. I'll call them tomorrow." The card. She hesitated. Cornered. With 20 witnesses watching. With shaking fingers. She handed him the white envelope. Lucas opened it. He read the text. "To the woman who makes the travel worth it. Every night with you is a revelation. G." The ambient noise of the party faded into a dull roar. Lucas read the card 3 times. G. Who was G? He looked up. Sophie was pale. "Who is G?" Lucas asked. His voice carried. Sophie flinched. "Lucas. Don't be ridiculous. I told you. It's a mistake." She tried to take the card back. Lucas slid it into his pocket. "We will discuss this later." He turned back to the guests. He smiled. It was the best sales performance of his life. But inside, the ledger of their marriage was being rewritten in red ink. The illusion was over. Silence in the suburbs, too, is heavy. It presses against the eardrums. Lucas sat in the dining room, staring at the roses. They were obscenely red. "Who is G?" "Sophie." He did not shout. He sat with his hands folded. A posture of negotiation. Sophie smoothed her dress, attempting to regain her corporate composure. "Lucas. Honestly. You are blowing this out of proportion. It is obviously a prank." "Why would I?" "Stop. Lucas cut the air with his hand. Do not insult my intelligence. The card references travel. It references nights, it is signed. With an initial. It could be anyone. The courier asked for Sophie Harris. I heard him. Sophie paced toward the window. You are being paranoid. You have always been jealous, Lucas. It is suffocating. Lucas watched her. He analyzed her tactics. Deny. Attack. Reverse victim. And offender. 6 months, Lucas said softly. Sophie froze. What? You have been distant. For 6 months. The headaches. The fatigue. The gym sessions that last 3 hours. But you come home with dry hair. The business trips. I work hard for this family. She snapped. Tears welling up. Calculated tears. I am building a career. And you sit there. And accuse me. Because of some stupid flowers. Give me. Your phone. The request hung in the air. Like a guillotine blade. Sophie's hand instinctively went to her pocket. No. That is an invasion of privacy. If you have nothing to hide. Unlock it. If it is a wrong delivery, your messages will prove it. She stared at him. The defiance began to crack. I can't do that, Lucas. Then. It is over. Lucas stood up. The chair scraped loudly. If you do not hand me that phone. In the next 10 seconds. I am filing for divorce. Tomorrow morning. And I will hire a forensic investigator. You wouldn't. Try me. 1. Lucas. Please. 2. We can talk about this. 3. Sophie began to cry. Ugly, gasping sobs. I am sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen. We were just lonely. Lucas felt a wave of nausea. But his expression remained granite. The phone. Sophie. She trembled. She pulled the device from her pocket. She typed the passcode. She handed it to him. As if it were a bomb. Lucas took it. He did not look at her. Sit, he commanded. Sophie collapsed onto the chair. Lucas opened the hidden app. The contact name was simply Gavin, work. He felt the cold weight of the device in his palm. This was the black box of their crashed marriage. He began to read. The digital record was exhaustive. It was not a brief lapse in judgment. It was a parallel life. Lucas scrolled. His thumb moved rhythmically. Up, up, back through time. August 28th. Gavin. The hotel is booked. Suite 402. I ordered the champagne. Sophie, I told Lucas I have a regional strategy dinner. He bought it. I can't wait to be out of this house. Lucas felt a physical blow to his gut. That night, she had kissed him on the cheek. He kept scrolling. August 15th. Sophie, he is so boring. Gavin. He talks about interest rates. I feel dead inside. When I'm with him. You make me feel visible. Gavin, leave him. You know we belong together. Sophie, I will. Once the bonus comes in. I need to figure out how to keep the house. Lucas stopped scrolling. He looked at Sophie. She was curled on the sofa, sobbing. She wanted to keep his house. He continued reading. There were photographs, images of his wife, in lingerie he had never seen. Voice memos. He played one. Her voice, husky and low. I love you, G. I count the days until the weekend. He recognized the date. It was the weekend Noah had the flu. Sophie had claimed. She was at a leadership retreat. She had left Lucas alone to care for their sick child. While she was with G. Lucas identified G quickly. Gavin Miller. Regional director. Her boss. Married. 2 children. The nausea returned. Violent. Acidic. Lucas walked to the bathroom. And vomited. He returned to the living room. He did not scream. He was a broker. He dealt in documentation. He retrieved his own phone. He began to photograph every message. He took screenshots. He captured the dates, the times, the explicit descriptions, the plans to leave him. He emailed the files to the cloud. He sent a copy to his brother. Subject line, evidence. Do not delete. What are you doing? Sophie asked. Documenting, Lucas said. His voice devoid of inflection. Lucas. Stop. I'll delete him. We can go to counseling. I promise. It was a mistake. A mistake. Lucas said, not looking up. Is forgetting to pick up milk. A mistake. Is not 6 months of premeditated deception. You abandoned our sick son to be with him. I didn't mean that. It was just talk. The record suggests otherwise. He set her phone down. Gavin Miller, Lucas said. Regional Director. Sophie flinched. Lucas. Don't. Does his wife know? If you tell her, he will fire me. I'll lose my career. Correction, Lucas said. Standing up. You will lose your income. He walked to the hallway closet. He retrieved a suitcase. He threw it onto the floor. Pack. What? Pack a bag. You are not sleeping here tonight. This is my house too. You forfeited your right to this roof when you turned it into a prison of lies. If you are not out of this door in 20 minutes, I will wake Noah up and explain exactly why Daddy is making Mommy leave. It was a bluff. But Sophie didn't know that. She looked at his face, hard and unforgiving, and saw a stranger. 20 minutes later, the front door closed. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Lucas was alone with the balloons and the dying roses. Lucas did not sleep. He sat in his leather chair, watching the sun rise over the wet pavement. The rage had cooled into something solid and sharp, like a blade of ice. He was no longer the victim. He was the architect of the counterstrike. At 8 in the morning, he called David Chin, his attorney. I need you, David. It's an emergency. They met at 10. Lucas laid out the evidence. The printed screenshots. The timeline. David whistled low. This is substantial. Washington is a no-fault state, but for custody, leaving a sick child to conduct an affair? The misappropriation of marital funds? We can argue. Neglect. I want primary custody, Lucas said. She is not stable. We will fight for it. But Lucas, be prepared. She will fight back. Let her. Lucas returned home at noon. He sat at his computer. He had one more move to make. He searched for Gavin Miller. He found Gavin's wife, Rachel Miller. She looked kind. A teacher. Lucas felt a momentary pang of guilt. He was about to destroy this woman's life. But then, he looked at the dried roses on his dining table. Gavin had invaded his home. Gavin had sent those flowers to humiliate him. Lucas created an anonymous email account. Truth Teller. 2024. He composed the message. Dear Rachel, I am sorry to be the one to tell you this, but your husband, Gavin, has been having an affair with my wife. Below are the screenshots. He attached the files. 50 screenshots. The evidence was irrefutable. He hovered his mouse over the send button. This was the nuclear option. Once he clicked this, there was no going back. Lucas thought of Sophie's text. He is so boring. I feel dead inside. He clicked send. The explosion was immediate and total. Rachel Miller did not just file for divorce. She forwarded the evidence to Human Resources. The corporate investigation was swift. Gavin was fired within 72 hours. Sophie was formally reprimanded, demoted, and took a 40% pay cut. Her reputation incinerated. When Sophie found out Lucas had sent the email, she called him, screaming, "You ruined my life. How could you? You ruined it yourself, Sophie," Lucas replied. I just turned on the lights. The divorce proceedings were brutal. Sophie tried to paint Lucas as controlling. But David Chin was ready. In the mediation room, David slid a document across the table. Mrs. Harris. On October 4th, you missed your son's preschool play. You told your husband you were in a meeting. Here is a credit card receipt from a hotel bar, time-stamped. At the exact time of the play, Sophie turned scarlet. And here, David continued. The weekend Noah had a fever. You said it was a conference. There was no conference. You were in a spa. With Mr. Miller. The judge. A stern woman. Looked over her glasses. Mrs. Harris. Did you leave a sick child to pursue an extramarital affair? Sophie looked down. Yes. The ruling was decisive. Lucas was granted primary custody. Sophie lost the house. Gavin blocked Sophie on all platforms. He blamed her for his downfall. The romance that was supposed to be a revelation disintegrated. Lucas sat in his empty house. The silence was different now. It was the silence of victory. But it tasted like ash. 6 months had passed. Lucas sat on a park bench, watching Noah climb a jungle gym. Lucas had changed. He had lost 15 pounds. He ran 5 miles every morning. He was harder now, less trusting. He checked facts. But he was also free. His phone buzzed. A message from Sophie. Lucas. I am in therapy. I know, sorry doesn't fix anything. I destroyed the best thing I ever had. For an illusion. Is there any chance? In the future, we could try again? For Noah. Lucas read the message. He remembered the flowers. He remembered the boring comment. He felt a twinge. Not love. Not hate, pity. He typed a reply. Sophie. Focus on being a mother to Noah during your visits. That is the only role you have in my life now. Do not ask this again. He hit send and blocked the number. Mind if I sit here? Lucas looked up. A woman stood there. Dark hair. Kind eyes. I'm Elena, she said. I'm Lucas. They talked for 20 minutes. It was easy. It was honest. There was no pretense. When they parted ways, Lucas felt a shift. The winter was ending. He walked to the car, holding Noah's hand. He drove home. He entered the house that was finally, truly his. He walked to the garage. He found the box labeled September, and carried it to the trash bin outside. He dumped the dried, black petals of the roses into the waste. He watched the lid close. Case closed. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next.